Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Jamaicans and diaspora. Okay, the PNP conference. Let's take in what them have to say. Yes, I.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media, to my colleagues and fellow Jamaicans, to those who have joined us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you for joining us at the People's National Party. Today, we gather not only as representatives of the People's National Party, but as Jamaicans, as Jamaican women who refuse to accept the normalization of violence against women in this country. We refuse to accept the erosion of integrity and the blatant disregard for the principles of accountability. The reinstatement of George Wright to the Jamaica Labour Party is not just an insult to women of this country. It is a declaration by the Jamaica Labour Party that politics matters more than justice and morality. It is a betrayal of every woman who has suffered in silence, to every survivor who was told that their pain doesn't matter, and to every little girl who is watching and learning what our country, what our government is willing to tolerate in the name of politics. The JLP didn't truly dismiss George Wright. They distanced themselves just long enough to weather the storm, only to now welcome him back as though he has been washed whiter than snow. We will not forget. So when the women, particularly of the Jamaica Labour Party, visit you at home in the coming months to ask you to vote for them and to vote for this signal, this declaration they have made, stand up, Jamaica. Respond to the silence they have given you with your vote. When Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, Dr. Michelle Charles, Tamika Davis, Anne-Marie Vaz, Favor Williams, Crystal Lee, Olivia Babsy Grange, Marlene Malahoo Fort, Tova Hamilton, Marissa Dalrymple Filbert, Senator Kamina Johnson Smith, Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, Senator Dr. Safar Longmore, Senator Shireen Golding Campbell, and Miss Rhoda Moy Crawford and Juliet Holness come to ask you for your vote. Remind them that they were silent when George Wright was welcomed back to the fold of the Jamaica Labour Party to represent you. Today, Miss Patricia Duncan Sutherland, President of the People's National Party's Women's Movement, Dr. Angela Brown Burke, our Chairwoman and Spokesperson on Foreign Affairs and Trade, Ms. Denise Daly, Spokesperson on Gender Affairs, and Senator Gabriella Morris, or President of the PNP's Youth Organization, they're not gonna be silent. They're saying to you that we will fight for you. We're also fighting for the woman that was beaten by George Wright with a chair. You see what you did do? It can't rub out. We invite Ms. Patricia Duncan Sutherland to address you.
I'm Patricia Duncan Sutherland, President of the PNP Women's Movement and spokesperson on social transformation and protection. And today, I chose to wear black because it is a sad period for Jamaica. It is a sad time for Jamaica. I stand here today representing the 30% of Jamaican women who have experienced domestic violence. I stand here today representing every well-thinking Jamaica. It is outrageous that we should choose to normalize violence against women in Jamaica in whatever shape or form by accepting that this should be swept under the carpet. We are not here saying that there is no possibility for redemption, but redemption must come with first acknowledging what is wrong and doing something specific and clear to fix it. In April 2021, when this video came out, and the country was outraged, women were outraged, men were outraged, Dr. Chan, in asking or in agreeing with George Wright that he should step down, said that they are asking him to step down and to step away from the government caucus because of the unresolved allegations circulated in the public domain. These allegations remain unresolved. George Wright has not denied that he was the man in the video. And if they are to say that mitigating circumstances are the reason why they are accepting that he should once again be a part of the Jamaica Labour Party and the government caucus, then they need to tell the public what those mitigating circumstances are. And it needs to be more than just telling. He needs to show and to clearly say that this act is not a good act, it's a wrong act, and that there is something that he has done to get counseling, and that will change it. I want everybody to note that the 30% of Jamaican women who experience domestic violence some of them are married. So marrying the person that you abuse does not stop the abuse from occurring. It just means that the abuser, the abused, is in a situation that is even more devastating because they get into a deeper trap of abuse. And I want to say that domestic violence and abuse occurs in many ways, not just physical. There is financial abuse, there is physical abuse. Purple, since that is the color that we use to represent our distaste and rejection of gender-based violence. So yes, today we are going to be talking about the JLP's deception, the big lie in presenting George Wright as an independent member of parliament while he was clearly supporting their agenda. We said in parliament over and over again, because we were very clear, that he never acted in any way to support this claim of independence. This was a farce promoted by every JLP member sitting in parliament. This was a shame that was perpetrated by a parliament with the largest number of women in our history, making that an even deeper shame. When we on the opposition benches dared to express our disgust, some wanted to pretend that it was partisanship and that we didn't have the evidence. But I know that you, like me, saw that video, and it is an image I have not been able to get out of my mind of a man with a stool just licking and licking and licking. Not the wall, but flesh and blood, a woman. And as we discuss this, I want you to remember that, because somebody has to stand up for our women. The truth, though, is that although it took many of us by surprise, it should not have. It should not have, because the JLP has maintained a poor pattern of accountability and integrity. We remember the undated letters of resignation, which were ruled unconstitutional. We remember the fight we had with NIDS and SOE, having to take those to court to ensure that the rights of Jamaicans were protected. We remember ministers abusing their powers. Some of those cases are even now still pending. And I guess we have a government who wants us, through the passage of time, to forget these things. This is a government that we have seen depending on their bully pulpit to keep citizens in line and to keep those of us who oppose their actions in line. Well, it not gonna work. The Prime Minister himself said he knows when to turn it up and when to turn it down. What that means is that he take the whole away for idiot. So all he has to do is to turn it up or down and determine what our reaction will be. We can't allow that to remain, because this move of bringing George Wright as a current member of Parliament for the Jamaica Labour Party after 4 years of silence is a slap in the face of all women and girls. It is another punch to the gut for every survivor of domestic violence, and in particular, those who are survivors of intimate partner violence. It is a devastating blow to our young girls who are hoping that they won't become part of the statistics of that 30% of women in Jamaica, yes, who experience gender-based violence. And it certainly doesn't help those men who are embarrassed when we talk about the statistics, that 1 in almost 3, basically 3 women, have experienced physical violence by a male partner. It doesn't help. And you know what is worse? What is worse is that this also does nothing to encourage reporting violence against women and girls to formal channels. And bear in mind that this is a country where 63% of those individuals who experience this kind of violence never report it. An MP sitting in Parliament for 4 years, pretending that he did nothing wrong, with his members supporting him time and time again, as if they too don't know that he did something wrong. In fact, what has he said now? I think he has outgrown it, and therefore he has turned a new leaf. That's not enough. Where is the public apology? Where is the admission of guilt and wrong? Where is the remorse? I don't know. Some persons say, well, maybe mitigating circumstances mean that he has done therapy and he has done this and he has done that. But if that is so, it seems to me that the JLP are getting ready for a dog and pony show. So they admit him as a member. They say there are mitigating circumstances. And then as we have the discussion, they will lift the veil to show what has happened. This is not dog and pony show time. This is bigger than politics. This is about protecting the values of decency, accountability, and respect for all women. And this is a serious concern in Jamaica, because although many don't report to formal channels, 44% of these women talk to a friend or to a care provider. And what does that mean? That 44%, almost a half of Jamaicans, know the problem that we are in, the crisis that we face. And the question therefore is, what are we going to do about it? Well, do I remember that in 2021, Mr. Mark Golding, at the time of this national disgrace, submitted a motion that would have allowed for a discussion in Parliament around a code of conduct that would clearly outline acceptable standards and behavior for parliamentarians, and at the very least would have had a conversation both in Parliament and nationally about what is expected. 4 years later, and not a word has been said about that motion that's before Parliament. And honestly,
the PNP has shown by that motion moved by Mr. Golding that we are serious about it. Not just talking, but we want to do something about it. And in particular, we want to hold parliamentarians as leaders to lead by example. And so I'm saying to you today that the PNP will continue to fight for a Jamaica where women are respected, where they feel safe, and where they are heard. And in doing that, we are also calling on all Jamaicans, men and women, to stand resolutely against any hypocrisy and doublespeak when it comes to gender-based violence or intimate partner violence. We are asking you to demand higher standards from all your leaders, and in particular, those of us who represent you in Parliament. You know, I was listening again to some things that the party leader said not so long ago. And one of the things that remain with me is when he said that domestic violence is fueled by a lack of moral norms and behavioral standards. That is something for us to think about. Who are the persons we are electing as leaders? We used to say that leaders lead by example. Is this the example that you would like your boys to grow up thinking that this is normal? That your girls would grow up thinking that this is normal? It is time to end the normalization of the violence against our women and girls. I am hoping that as a patriotic Jamaican, you too will stand with us.
Today, I will start by recognizing when we first opened our parliament in 2020, the Prime Minister bragged about they are the most women representing in parliament. And today, I am saddened to know that in a time when they are increasing their numbers of women in parliament, he is now looking at domestic violence as the norm. Why do I say that? When George Wright started out, he started out as a Jamaica Labour Party member of parliament. When the incident, he decided that he was going to be independent. Nothing about him was independent, but the fact that he was on record to be independent, I had to accept that fact. I have watched him over there, sitting over our side, with no remorse. He felt comfortable because he knew that the time would come for him to go back and join the Jamaica Labour Party. A few days ago, when I saw that rally, and I heard the MC saying, he is needed, he is important to the Jamaica Labour Party, I was in awe. Now, the term has not been finished, so we still have some time left.